The leadership of Rotary Fort Worth recognized the need, the importance, the value for recognition and inclusion within the business community and within this club itself. So in 2021, this event that brings us here today, the Rotary Minority Business Awards began, and now in 2024, the focus has made a difference to the almost 100 past nominees and winners of the Rotary Minority-Owned Business Award. So today, we link arms as a business community, united together in the spirit of the Rotary motto of service above self. All right, our 2022 first place winner, R.D. Howard Construction, is also a sponsor of today's program. Please help me welcome the owner of R.D. Howard Construction, Randall Howard.
And Deborah would say be brief, and as a prior winner of the award, I asked for a little extra time. Honorees, guests, fellow Rotarians, this award is, this program is Rotary's very unique way to celebrate diversity in our community. Chris Jordan, who recommended this program, we need to give him a hand. I'm gonna share a real short story, and not to brag, but to share my own redemption. My blind roommate
taught me to see the prejudice in me.
As a high school student, I was eager to meet my college roommate, and I thought about us hanging out together and doing things together. I knew most likely he was going to be white because of the 18,000 students at Texas State University back then, only 500 of them were black. As my parents checked me into the dorm room, we noticed that the guys checking us in kind of looked over their shoulder a couple of times, and they were moving some cards around and kind of puzzled us. Then when they were walking us to the room, the front desk worker said a couple of things that kind of were puzzling. And when we arrived at the room, well then, we knocked on the door and we heard this voice light up and said, "Come in."
And we went into
a completely dark room with the blinds drawn on a bright sunshiny day in August. My roommate, Jaime, was completely blind, which shattered all of my dreams of toga parties and girl watching together. He was Hispanic, but that was no problem. But blind? Really? In addition to that, he was deaf in one ear, and I found out later on, going deaf in the other ear. The more I thought about it, I got madder and madder. And I have to admit to you all that I actually thought myself better than another one of God's creations. And I said to myself, you know what? They just did that to me because I'm black. But as I thought about it more and thought about it, and I thought about the teachings of my parents to treat everybody the way you wanted to be treated, I realized if I changed room, well then it would hurt him. But I ended up walking down to the dorm manager's office and I said, look here, I want to be out of this room. I want you to put me in another room. And as fate would have it, every room on the college campus was filled. And so he told me to give him a couple of weeks. Well, a couple of weeks passed and he came back and he said, I have another room for you now. And I said, you know what? I've gotten to know Jaime, and Jaime's a really cool guy. And plus, he's a heck of a chick magnet. So I think I'm gonna stay right where I am. And you know what else, folks? That Chris Jordan spirit that's being amplified here today had taken hold to me because I had actually gotten to know him, and all the fears of the unknown and the arrogance that I had thinking that I might be better had been pushed aside. I stayed in that room. After Christmas, dorm manager came back. have plenty of rooms in the spring. You want one? I said, no. As I approached the end of my freshman year, well then, the dorm manager came back to me and he said, I have another offer for you. He said, I'd like to offer you a job at the front desk as a RA. Well now, the next year, I was able to be friends with the two guys who checked me in the previous year. And I challenged them about putting me in the room because I was black. He said, look, we didn't do that because you were black. We did that because Jaime didn't care what color you were. And so that puzzled me. And so one night when I was working by myself, I got busy. And I started going through the cards. And I found the card of the kid who was supposed to be my roommate. And that was written across the top of it. Do not put our son in the room with a, well, let's just say, heavy-skinned guy. Well, as it turned out, that day, I decided, you know, thank God for Jaime. And not only that, I made it a personal commitment of mine that I was going to try to do everything I could do to not judge people by their appearance. Jaime ended up dropping out of college during our senior year because he had actually gone deaf in the other ear by that time. But he helped me to graduate because every time I felt like I maybe couldn't make it, Jaime, I would think about him and I said, if he could do it, I can too. But since then, the impact of that experience has had on me. As a business owner for 41 years, we have employed 13 people who were totally blind, partially blind, wheelchair or physically impaired, and lots of folks who didn't necessarily look like me. And in recognition of the Mayor's Commission
For persons with disabilities.
Lindbeck Construction, who we're partnered with on the new City Hall, quickly embraced our proposal to make a young lady named Rebecca Hill, who's been in a wheelchair all of her life, the very first hourly employee on our new Fort Worth City Hall project. Winners or finalists, congratulations. But we also challenge you. We challenge everybody in the room to look past our differences and to open up opportunities doors so everyone's talents can soar. On behalf of R.D. Howard Construction and our customers for 78 years, we're honored to be your sponsor. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Not only do you've been invited to the table, you have a seat at the table, you can have the stage anytime you want. Thank you, Randall Howard. Thank you for reminding us about why we're here.